Well, Laurie, you've had a longstanding interest in how exercise and physical training affect glucose transport in skeletal muscle compared to how insulin works. Right. Your laboratory group has now elucidated some of the pathways, but perhaps not all of the pathways for muscle contraction. Could you tell me how muscle contraction works differently from how insulin works to activate glucose transport in skeletal muscle?
Sure. So maybe I'll start by the similarities, which are both insulin and muscle contraction or exercise promote GLUT4 translocation to the cell surface. But what's really different is the initiating signal. So insulin works through its receptor and very well understood pathway that involves PI3 kinase and AKT. Exercise seems to work through multiple mechanisms. AMP-activated protein kinase has been implicated. We now have evidence that AMPK-related kinases may be important, but calcium signaling and proteins activated by calcium are probably involved, as well as reactive oxygen species, mechanical stretch. There's probably a lot of different factors that feed into the movement of glucose transporters to the cell surface with muscle contraction.
Well, one of the interesting things that you've shown is that in people with diabetes, type 2 diabetes, who have insulin resistance, that insulin doesn't stimulate glucose transport as it would in a non-diabetic individual, but exercise actually does activate glucose transport the same as it does in a normal individual.
Right. Right, and it appears that this is because the translocation process, the glucose transporters move to the cell surface in a normal manner, and it seems that the signaling molecules that are activated by contraction are also normally activated in people with type 2 diabetes.
So this could have major implications for treatment of people with type 2 diabetes, that exercise should lower blood glucose by stimulating glucose uptake in muscle where they may not have the normal effects of insulin to lower glucose.
Right, exactly. And it seems that these signaling molecules that are distinct from how insulin works, they seem to be normally activated, and they have become targets for drug development, because if we can mimic the specific effects of exercise to promote the translocation process in these, and there are not defects there, then potentially we could make agents that would activate some of these specific signaling proteins.
So better understanding of how exercise works to activate glucose transport in skeletal muscle then could have major long-term impacts in new drug development.
Right, absolutely. And there are a number of pharmaceutical companies that are actually working on these questions right now.